Hey everyone, it's Gilgamesh. This is the second part of my weekend comic book haul. When I had time to go running around hunting for comics, which I don't usually have on the weekends, wanted to take advantage. Um, in the first part, I showed off the stuff that I found in a half price books, and I talked briefly about going to an antique store that had a bunch of, um, well, it was like an antique store and a bookstore, and they didn't have anything worthwhile. So there's actually this comic book store near the antique store that I'd never been to before. It's kind of in a suburb that I don't usually get a chance to drive through. So I decided to hit them up and see what they had there. Um, and they had some cool books that were on the stands still, like Edge of Spider-Geddon #2. You see, I got myself a second copy of this. They didn't have the other cover, unfortunately, so this is my second copy of this cover. This is a spec book. It's got the first appearance of this character, Addie Brock, who's like the sister of Eddie Brock, I suppose, in an alternate universe, just like Spider-Gwen, with her Venom mech suit. It's just one of those things where, maybe the character will go somewhere, maybe not. But we can always hope. They also had um, a few books that were still on the stands, still for cover price, including Champions #19, which is the first appearance of that character who becomes Snowguard, and #21. They also had 20, but I already had that one, so I just kind of left it there. But now I have a complete run of 19 through 21, which are the three books that, I don't know, at least as a set, they seem to be going for some money. I don't know if individually they do or not. They also had a bunch of really great wall books that were, a lot of them were in really good shape too. They had stuff like some issues of Strange Tales, like they had the first appearance of Shield, and I guess the first Silver Age appearance of Nick Fury. I think that's right, because he was like Sergeant Fury in a bunch of Golden Age books, maybe. Actually, I don't know. I need to. I guess I should look into that. I mean, I know there was that book Sergeant Fury and his Howling Commandos, but I think that was a Silver Age book as well. So maybe it was the first appearance of Nick Fury altogether. I'm not entirely sure. Um, and stuff like the first appearance of Gamora. I don't even remember what all, but they had a whole bunch of really good stuff that I was looking at, and was mostly out of my price range, or at least was more than I was looking to spend at the moment, because I had a $50 bill on me, and I kind of wanted to just keep it within that range. Um, the guy who was managing the shop at that time said that the owner was away and he was discounting, like everything was 20% off. So I got a few back issues for relatively cheap. I got some J. Scott Campbell Amazing Spider-Man covers. This is #51 from the Straczynski run. Um, Nice Mary Jane cover. And #52, an even better Mary Jane cover. The Spider-Man on the outside with the snow. I love the contrast there. That's a really beautiful cover. The last book that I found at this shop was the first part of this Jim Starlin run on Strange Tales, featuring Warlock. Um, this is, I think, the second solo Warlock run after the Power of Warlock stuff that was in, what was it, Marvel Premiere, I think. But yeah, and this is the run that introduces Gamora, which is in issue 180. So at some point I will finish getting all those. But yeah, I got all those books, the new issues and these back issues, for less than $50. And then I hit up another comic book store that I've been to a few times, and I've found some good stuff there. They actually had 3 copies of Venom Space Knight number 12, which is kind of hot at the moment. It's the first appearance of, I think his name is tel-kar. He's like supposedly the first host for the Venom symbiote, I guess before Spider-Man found it during Secret Wars. It was basically, they were selling it for a quarter over cover price of $4.25. They had 3 copies of it, but at that price, I really could only justify to myself buying 1 copy. So that's what I did. And then I was just rooting through their back issue bins. I found the first part of the Kraven's Last Hunt storyline. This is the only part that they had. At some point, I would really love to get the rest of this. It's a classic storyline, and it's got some great Mike Zeck artwork on these covers, especially the one where Spider-Man is crawling out of the grave, which I think is the next issue of Web of Spider-Man. Just really classic, absolutely beautiful. And speaking of Mike Zeck, I also grabbed a copy of Captain America 321, for which he also did the cover. Captain America going off on people with an Uzi. So that's that's a great cover. Another classic. And then I found some older issues of Marvel Premiere. And these are all, these are not high grade books, but they're, they're good enough. They're not like really ratty beat up copies or anything. There's a lot of scuffing along the spine. A few minor corner creases, but they're not too bad, really. So this is issue 5, featuring Doctor Strange. I think this is the first appearance or first cameo appearance of Shuma Gorath, Doctor Strange villain. One can hope that he shows up in a sequel to the Doctor Strange movie, at least as a opening action scene villain who gets defeated early on, sort of like Batroc the Leaper in the Winter Soldier movie. Also grabbed issue 10, which is either his first full appearance or his first cover appearance. And I think this is also the issue where, spoiler alert, the Ancient One dies. And then I grabbed issue 11 of Marvel Premiere, which I think it reprints some stuff from Strange Tales, like some of the earlier Ditko stories with like the origin of Doctor Strange or something like that. But I just grabbed it and I thought it was cool looking. And then this is the book that I spent the most on. This is Marvel Premiere number 21, featuring Iron Fists. And this is, it's sort of the first appearance of Misty Knight, but I think later on somebody actually retconned that a character that showed up in Marvel Team Up number 1, they said that was Misty Knight. But she wasn't named in that issue. In this issue, she's actually named. So I guess technically this is her second appearance, her first named appearance. But it's a good book to have. And it's in pretty nice shape too. It's, it's got some slight spine ticks. But overall, it's pretty nice. And then I grabbed this one just as, I don't know, just as kind of I like the cover, and I've never heard of this character, but I thought it was kind of interesting. Marvel Premiere number 32. This is the first appearance of Monarch Starstalker. And just drink in that cover. That's that's like pure early 80s or late 70s maybe. I don't even know when this came out, but it's great. I think the character is supposed to be like a bounty hunter or something like that. Smuggler maybe, I'm not sure. But I mean, seriously, give this character a sense of humor and he would totally fit right in one of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. Anyway, the last book that I picked up, and I'm really surprised I found this at the price that I did. Amazing Adventures number 18, featuring War of the Worlds. It's the first appearance of Killraven. It's probably like a VF minus. It's got like a slight chip out of the cover there, but I think there's another one there. It's just barely chipped. But otherwise it's in great shape. And, you know, it's just one of those Bronze Age characters that nobody really does anything with, but, you know, all these Bronze Age books are kind of jumping up in value these days. So it was nice to find it for $9. Probably about what it's worth, but usually you find books in shops where they're trying to sell them for more than what it's really worth. So I consider it a deal. Anyway, after that I kind of called it a day and went home. But overall it was a success. I found a lot of really awesome books, and that's about it. So I will see everybody in the next video. Well, this weekend I'm going to be hitting up a small convention here locally. So if I find anything good, I will definitely show that off as well. But until then, I'll see everybody later.